And welcome back to the Everyday Board Game Podcast, Top 8 Crowdfunded Board Games. It is now the finals. So, we had some upsets earlier, but now we have our 1 and 2 seed, Gloomhaven versus Scythe.
Yeah. No, these are really good games, so this is tough for me because, as I was mentioning before we started again, these are in my top 10 games of all time. I really enjoy both of these games.
Yeah. I don't know if either of them would hit my top 100 yet.
Yeah.
Yet. I feel like Gloomhaven has the ability to move into that.
You know why? Because they have theme.
I played plenty of games like this before. Actually, I think until I get more plays of Gloomhaven, still in my top 100, Pathfinder the Adventure card game. I played the mess out of that, and I loved it. And that's
so,
just like
bring that
Gloomhaven.
up. Okay. Gloomhaven caused me to sell Pathfinder the Adventure card game.
You were probably going to sell it anyway. But yeah, I mean, if it replaced it,
then
that makes sense.
It just got too samey, and then when we started playing Gloomhaven and going through the scenario, the campaign, it's just like, oh, this campaign, we got to beat all the monsters in this one, whereas that one, we had to make sure we survived till we got to that goal, so it changes up. So that's why I really... that's the same reason why I got rid of the Dungeons and Dragon game I had, Castle Ravenloft. Gloomhaven just killed that one for me as well.
Yeah, that I don't blame you. I'm curious to see how this is going to affect my... If Gloomhaven climbs as much as I think it will on my to play list, or my top 100s, I wonder if it's going to unseed or make Pathfinder go lower because of that. Because that was probably my favorite campaign-based, or RPG-themed based game. So with that being said, though, we're not going to argue.
We'll do it like we always do in our finals.
Yep.
We're going straight into the 5 categories.
Yes.
And honestly, there's nothing really that pops out that one over the other.
No. I mean,
to me personally, it'd probably just be game immersion. Going to Gloomhaven, just because I played it a lot more. I know the campaign just, in its sense, gives me more immersion for it. But yeah, no.
Well, let's think about this real quick. All 3 of them, before it's too obvious. So theme matching mechanisms. I mean, I do agree with the mechanisms in Scythe matching the theme better than the mechanisms in Gloomhaven with choosing the 2 cards. I love that mechanism. I think that's smart.
My bias out of this and try to agree with you, but I can't.
Well, I'm just thinking okay, so think about it this way: if you're in a dungeon battling something, right? Mm-hmm. It's all right. Well, I could either do a small swipe with my sword, or I can run 2 spaces that way. That doesn't feel like it's matching the theme.
Yes and no, but see, you're basically doing the basic on the cards. Each of these cards play differently. I could do this because it allows me to get through their armor and pierce them, or I can and then do this action, which allows me to attack again if it has an attack at the bottom.
Yeah.
Or it's going to allow me to move this way. I can protect my buddy over here and get this way. I can take the hits rather than that person taking the hits because they can't take those kind of hits. So
right.
It's a nice little puzzle for the game, for a dungeon crawl. And if you're looking at it as, for me, like an RPG style, it's the same thing when you're thinking of Dungeons and Dragons when you're making that decision in your head.
Yeah. I mean, it's just and I don't disagree with that. I just if you
and the thing that hampers Scythe, even though I like it, is the fact that you can't take the same action twice. Why wouldn't I want to take that same action twice? Because it gives me the things that I need.
Okay. Yeah.
When you're doing the mechanism itself, doesn't really match because, say, I am this overlord. Why wouldn't I want to make more resources to help stockpile and build things over here? Or move my mech to start war over here?
Right, but at the same time, but for Gloomhaven though, do you feel that you feel like you're in a battle, in a dungeon?
I do, personally, okay. But I can get into the theme. I can get into that kind of immersion because I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm going to try to run up and hit this guy, So I'm going to use this card to move into the situation, and I'm going to use this card because I want to do massive damage to this guy because I need to get this elite out of the way.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's just that part. Interacting with the other players, that goes to Gloomhaven just for the simple fact that you're working with the other players. And as we said all the way through with Scythe, the only time you're really interacting with the other players is when you're moving into territories that cause fights.
Okay. Yeah, that I agree with that. So immersion goes to Blood Rage. Gloomhaven. Okay. All right. Let's see, which one do we want to go to next? Let's do replay value.
Let's go to ease of play, actually.
Ease of play? Okay.
Yeah.
Because
simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism is a wash.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, I would say Scythe because it is simple. You just take your pawn and you decide if you're going to do this, or this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And then follow the instructions on said spot. Yeah. Okay. I can agree with that. AP prone, I feel...
I think
that's tricky.
Scythe, because of the... Like, when it comes to a co-op game, has a less likelihood of being AP prone as, say, something like Scythe, because you don't want to make that mistake.
True, but picking which card you want to play and how you want to play the top and the bottom of the card, that can be huge.
Lead to AP prone, but again, going to the fact that do I make this selection or this selection? How is it going to affect me? If I'm producing these resources, are they going to get stolen from me this way before I can go pick them up? That kind of, at least I've had more issues with AP prone, and I don't know if he's watching, but we have a friend who has a tendency to be AP prone in Gloomhaven. But when we played Scythe, I just feel the AP longer because at least if he's taking a little bit to make his decision, I already have my game plan built out.
Yeah.
And so, whereas Scythe is like if, say, player B is taking their time and making their decision on what they're going to do, it's just extending the game.
Okay. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. What about likelihood of getting it to the table?
That's, to me, is kind of a wash for like the initial aspect. I think the reason is because both games are big. Gloomhaven, of course, bigger, but it's just like which one. I think theme-wise, I think Gloomhaven would have a better chance because fantasy.
People are familiar with it. Yeah.
Alternate universe type stuff.
I agree. The fact that it's co-op, I feel is the biggest deterrent. It's like, okay, we're not trying to play against each other. We're going to be helping each other no matter what. So even if they were the same complexity level, the co-op nature of it makes it easier.
Yeah.
So ease of play goes to Gloomhaven.
All right. So
art and production.
Value.
Let's go art and production.
Art and production. Okay. So art style. I will say, hands down, I think Scythe has the better art style.
Yes. It has a better art.
I love that art on it. As much as I love Gloomhaven, I just think the artist on whoever did they built the game around the art, which is amazing.
Yeah. I think the production also goes to Scythe.
Pieces and components?
Yes. Because even though Gloomhaven has a lot, it's just a lot of map tiles and a lot of cards. And sure, there's minis, right? But they're just fairly generic minis, whereas the Scythe minis are phenomenal. And you have the wood bits that make up the resources. Now, granted, you don't...
Okay, I'll give you that. And design, again, I'd give that to Scythe. So I'll give art and production to Scythe. It's a tough one for me, just because there's a lot of production in Gloomhaven.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's a lot of map tiles. They're double-sided, so they can be reused in different scenarios. You have a whole lot of bad guy cardboard standees. The art on them are nice.
Yeah.
And they have numbers on them for purposes of activations, stuff like that. You have...
It beats it over quantity for sure, but quality, it's still... I mean, say, if you took, like, a huge, massive game that has a bunch of, like, building tiles, like one of the D&D board games versus, like, say, Tapestry. Well, those pre-painted buildings are amazing, right? You know, production...
I'll give you that. I'm trying to give some love to Gloomhaven on that.
Oh, yeah.
So the production is there. It's just Scythe is so much nicer.
Yeah. That's one of the things...
There's, as you said, quality over the quantity.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was fairly clear that Scythe for me. But I mean, all of these ones have put up such a good fight as far as production value
Yeah,
because they
and
are all really good.
that's the crowdfunding.
Yeah, that's the
The only
crowdfunding
one
part
that
of it.
didn't really it had great art on it, but not really for production wise was Star Realms, and that's
Yeah.
just because it's a card game, so that's where it gets hurt.
And another dock to the production quality of Gloomhaven, having to put all this or finding a reasonable way to put the stuff back in the box, that was not thought out well.
No, it's not.
Where everything fits almost perfectly in Scythe.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've already belabored that point. Ease of play, or
We
do we
already
want?
did ease of
We
play.
did that. Yeah. Replay
Replay
value.
value and meaningful choices are what we have left.
Let's do meaningful choices then.
Okay, so impacting other players, I think on that part goes to Gloomhaven, because if you die and or get knocked out in Gloomhaven, that's going to affect the other two, especially if you're the tank.
Okay, I agree with that.
Because again, the only impact you're going to have on other players in Scythe is starting in a battle and trying to make sure you get your stuff on the starboard before they do.
Right. Whereas
impact on long-term strategy,
Scythe.
I think, is Scythe.
Yes. And arbitrary choices, I feel, goes to Scythe as well. Because, as we've discussed numerous times, if you make one wrong choice in Scythe, you're probably out for the game. Whereas Gloomhaven, because of the variables of like your attacks, I'll
give you that because of the moderation deck. You can make your attack really powerful or not. You don't really have control over it because it's just the shuffle of cards. Yeah. I'll give you that just for Scythe will get meaningful choices.
Okay.
But for the arbitrary choices, there is issues. If you, like I said, end up doing something stupid and get knocked out, that's going to hurt your teammates.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the way that the campaign introduces that, sometimes you have to, like you said, you have to Ronald Jenkins it and just run straight in and hope for the best because you're not going to know.
Leroy Jenkins.
Ronald Jenkins? Yeah. Oh, I was saying the musician. That's weird. Yeah. Leroy Jenkins.
So replay value. This is where it's going to be tough. Length of time in the scaling of well. Length of time in the scaling of well, Gloomhaven caps at 4. So that's its thing. And it scales very well. It actually has a way to scale the game to make it where there's more things on the map for 4 players or less for a 1 to 2 player game.
Yes.
And Gloomhaven actually plays a lot quicker than, say, Scythe.
Agreed. Yep.
Minimum numbers of plays for the full experience, hands down, Gloomhaven.
Yep.
Gloomhaven wins that because, again, we said it earlier,
99 campaigns.
You need to at least do, 90 plays to get the full experience.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's even if you play half those, it's still, you're not going to play Scythe 50 times.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, even with the campaign.
Yeah.
It's still.
Yeah, and then as far as expansions go, well, we just saw the sequel.
And not just the sequel. They're actually having a standalone game that fits in the Gloomhaven world. I think that can integrate into Gloomhaven.
Yep.
That's going to be released in Target. Jaws of Harkin.
Yep. Or Jaws of the Lion, isn't it?
Jaws of the Lion, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have it over here. Gloomhaven actually does have an expansion.
Yeah. The Forgotten Circles.
Forgotten Circles.
And here's the fun thing. If I'm not mistaken, with the sequel and with the expansion and the solo plays and the new version that's coming out, doesn't that make Gloomhaven have more expansions than Scythe?
So you got the solo play, you have the actual expansion, Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion, or Harkin, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's 4. Scythe has the Zeppelins, There was one other one in between, I can't think of what it is. And then you have Rise of Fenris.
Yeah.
But I don't really count Rise of Fenris as just one expansion. One, it's a campaign, but it also has
modules
to add to the game. So
yeah, but so does every expansion for Gloomhaven. Which the only reason I bring this up is because that shows the level that Isaac Childress produces his stuff, because that's the newer game.
Yeah.
That's obscene.
So even if we went to tiebreaker, Gloomhaven would have won.
Yeah. Yep, because of the...
and the way we forgot the way we mentioned this is we were going off the base game, the funding of the base game. None of the expansions or anything got that added. However, Gloomhaven had 2 Kickstarters for their base game.
Yep. It's, yeah.
So Gloomhaven is our number 1, our champion of crowdfunded games.
Absolutely. So Gloomhaven, good job, Isaac Childress, and good job, Jamie Stegmaier, for not putting up such a hard fight. I mean, it really was down to it.
It was 3-2. Immersion, ease of play, and replay value went to Gloomhaven. Meaningful choices in art and production with the site.
Yeah. So I mean, because really those meaningful choices they are incredibly impactful.
Yeah, and the thing is, when it came down to the meaningful choices, it's like column A or column B. Which one are you going to choose? Because there is meaningful choices in Gloomhaven. I just think Scythe edged it out barely.
Barely. Yep, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah, and we should always clarify in these lists, the reason we put them to such level of specifics is because it's not to say that one doesn't have meaningful choices, right? Like, I mean, it's not to downplay the number of meaningful choices that Gloomhaven has. It's just Scythe does edge it out because that is definitely more of a harder strategy game where Gloomhaven just has some more variable that makes it a little more arbitrary.
And so, just so everybody knows, Scythe made $1,810,294 with a goal of only $33,000.
1.8 million versus Gloomhaven's a lot.
So between the 2 campaigns, I wrote it out, did the math. Gloomhaven, the first one didn't do as well. I think it only was like 300,000. But the second printing of Gloomhaven was just massive. Again, both times he only wanted 100,000. The first one made 300,000. The second one made like 3 million. So the complete total for Gloomhaven was 4,385,899.
And if we combine that with Frosthaven, that's a total of like what, 17 million or something when all's said and done.
No, it's like 17.5.
Yeah,
because it was like, I think he was like $1,000 shy of making 13 million.
Yeah, that's obscene. Wow, board games are awesome.
Yeah. So the second printing of Gloomhaven, it by itself made 3,999,795.
Woo-wee. That's impressive. All right. So good job, Gloomhaven. That was our top 8 debate. So according to us, the best crowdfunded game is going to Gloomhaven, just barely irking it out there.
Another reason why I like the fact that Gloomhaven won this,
because it's your favorite game.
I would have been upset if Scythe won it. It was one person that made that game. He had help with like the scenarios, but it was, everything was Isaac Childress. His design that he wanted, the gameplay, the mechanisms. That was him and a little bit of his wife.
Yeah, but it was Jamie Stegmaier for all of Scythe, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. I think there was help with it. I know the art style was based off of Jacob Rosalski.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he based the game off that dude's art style. So it's interesting. Because of I forget what the art is called, but Jamie Stegmaier only can make the board game version of this. He doesn't have video game rights.
Right.
So he actually had to make a deal to get the digital release of Scythe.
Yep. Which I'm glad he did. Which we still need to play.
Oh, I'm down to play it.
All right, we'll play it right now. All right. With that being said, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. With that being said, this has been our top 8 debate. Coming up next week, we have on Monday. I am pulling that up right now. On Monday, we have our board game breakdown of Spiel des Jahres winners. That's going to be an amazing episode for me. I can't wait for that. Next Wednesday, on the 27th, will be our Chits and Giggles. What makes a Kickstarter one you want to back? That's going to be a fun little topic.
Oh, yeah.
And then we don't have anything for our top 8 debate next week, which we'll be deciding soon. So if you turned into our live episode, stay tuned. You can give us your input, and we'll be deciding that right now. With that being said, I've been Daniel.
And Daniel.
And thank you for tuning in to Everyday Board Games.
Have a good one.